Hello, I think I'm live. I'm not 100% sure because YouTube never really lets you know, but I I saw this today. And I'm going to play it for you in a second, but it's an AMA from Andrew Bosworth, and it's talking about all the different things that it would normally go through. So any questions that anyone's asked him, he answers. And when we say answer, you've got to remember the level of where he is in the company, and um, is media trained. Let's put it that way. I know it looks like not, like it's just like literally just sat doing whatever, but it is media trained. Literally, he is sat wherever he wants to, but he knows how to word things that so they don't sound bad and they don't sound good. Everything is a politician like type answer, if that makes sense. I'm good, Zane. How are you? Thanks for joining. 1 second. Well, I'll just double make sure that everything is working. It looks like it is. So perfect. Yeah. So I'll play the clip in a second. It's an interesting one because the question is, are you guys working on a Meta Quest 4? And I'll play the clip first because I think it's that then I can give my viewpoint on it. Yeah. 1 second. Okay. So they're always building new headsets. Clever response because that shows that they're planning for the future and that they plan on releasing a new headset at some point. And obviously if they're working on things, they're going to have prototypes to be able to actually, you know, release something. So they don't get the name. Now this is where it comes interesting, and it's where I want to get into it in a bit. So the answer is no, but they are working on headsets, and there will be headsets released in the future, which is a positive, but it doesn't mean it's going to be a Quest headset. It doesn't mean it's going to be a Quest 4 headset. They don't decide on the name until they're going to release it, which does make me think like I say, it's a very political answer because you're not actually giving the the actual answer that the person is looking for, which is, are they making a Quest 4? But I mean, what else were they going to call it? So it gets you thinking a little bit to whether they're actually going to release a Quest 4 or whether they're going to release a headset. Now, this got me thinking as well because there's been these rumours that obviously they're working with other companies to release headsets. And is that included in these headset prototypes? Or do we count them as other companies coming in to get involved? Or are we talking about Meta's development rather than some other company's development? Now, I suspect in a second. So they are working on lots of different headsets. We've known in the past that they've worked on headsets that they just haven't released. The 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 rumor has been for a while now that they were going to do a Quest Pro 2, and I think that's been shelved. I think we can. I think they can. I mean, in my opinion, we can officially say that they're probably not going to be releasing a Quest Pro 2. They might call it something else again, but I don't see them working on a high end headset. Not for the fact that, the Quest 3 did okay, but the Quest 3S, which was, last year's model, has done probably better and probably will do better in the future because it's a much cheaper headset, and that is what Meta are known for. They're known for the cheap headsets, the cheapest headset you can release. Not sure that's a good thing to be associated with, but it does mean you can corner market and then raise the price, which is what you should be doing as a business, which is what I think their original plan, but I think it's backfiring. So loads of different form factors. So many things that you can take from this that basically said they are working on headsets. So, but my title does say no Quest 4. Like, I wonder whether it's going to be called Quest 4. I think there'll be another headset, and I think it'll be a similar like type thing to a Quest 4, but whether it will be called a Quest 4 it doesn't really matter, but it'd be interesting if they go down a different name for the newer headsets, because obviously we've had the Quest 2, Quest 3, now Quest 3S, and the Pro, which I still don't really count massively as a headset. It was, for a long time before release, really advertised as a B2B, so business to business type thing, where it was going to be for businesses or developers to use to create tools to be able to work. It was really a work headset. It wasn't anything more than that, and that was the original plan. But then they started sort of messing about with the marketing, suggesting, I think, that really you could use it for both, which you could use it for both, but the mixed message, I think, ruined that headset. Not only that, but let's face it, it wasn't even as powerful as the Quest 3, which then came out not long after and completely ruined the Quest Pro. Apart from the fact that the Quest Pro had eye tracking, which I don't think we'll be getting eye tracking in a headset from Meta for a long time. Maybe one of these prototypes that they're working on that they might release under some other company, as in, like the Asus ROG brand that there's been rumors that they're going to be releasing. Maybe Xbox. We might see a high-end Xbox headset. That would be interesting. But anyway, so different styles and different targets, different target audiences. I don't think they're making a Quest Pro anytime soon, but maybe that's what their plan is at some point. I just can't see it. I can't see them doing it. Not with the release of the Quest 3S. I see them more going down the road of releasing a Quest 4S, maybe actually naming it just something different, because I think the naming convention of that was just ridiculous when they released the Quest 3 and then the year later the Quest 3S, which no one really, if you do not know about VR, you don't know which is the better headset without looking at the price. And then you might think you're getting a bargain. But so different weights, which suggests goes down the line of having the battery separated, like the puck, like Apple. So I do find it funny that about 3 years ago, Boz had said about the fact that Pico had basically copied the UI, and now Meta are, how do I put this without... The Meta new UI looks quite a lot like an Apple Vision Pro layout. Are we saying? Is that the best way to... In my opinion, it looks very similar. It doesn't have circles. It has squares with a border radius on them. It's... you know, but imitation is the best form of flattery, isn't it, boss?
We'll decide one of them is the right one, and it'll get a name.
So they'll release a headset. They'll give it a name.
I'm not gonna say that name's gonna be necessarily,
But he's not going to tell us the name because it might not be Quest. It might be, but it might not be.
they'll get a name and a launch program and so on.
So they'll get a launch program, very similar to how every company works. Really, you know, it's nothing new, but it's just interesting that, I mean, if I was a betting man, I'd say they're probably going to name it Quest 4 if they release a Quest 4 type headset. But I think if they're going to release a higher model, a higher end model, I don't think it'll have the Quest label. I think it will be called something else. Would make more sense to differentiate away from the Quest brand.
I know, it's very frustrating.
And it's not massively frustrating. I get what he's saying. I do. Totally get what he's saying. They don't know what it's going to be called. And they don't know what headsets they're going to release next. They've got a few different headsets in the works. And how they get released and who they get released with, your guess is as good as mine. I think it was interesting just to not come out and say it is or it isn't going to be called the Quest 4 or, 4S.
On all the information right away. But of course, we'll continue to invest, yes.
But the positive from this, the big positive, is that they are planning on still investing in VR for the foreseeable future, which is, I mean, not gonna lie, when I saw the glasses come out, I was a little worried. I was slightly worried that the glasses were gonna take a lot more of the attention away from VR and more focused on this Orion display type thing, which, I mean, I don't even know what the battery life is on these Meta Ray Band display glasses. That's an interesting one to know because from what I gather, the normal battery on the normal Ray Bans lasts about 4 hours, give and take. But I can't remember the exact details, so don't hold me onto that one. But yeah, I think what we can take from it is that there will be a new headset from Meta. Who knows when that will be, what that will be, how the form factor of that. Who knows? But I do think we seem to have had a few headsets now in succession year on year. I'm trying to think when the actual Quest Pro was released. Was that... One second. I think the Quest Pro was released the year before the Quest 3. So 2022, October 2022 was the Quest Pro. October 2022. October 2023. Okay. So it was a year after. So that's actually, now thinking about it, this is the first year in 4 years that we haven't had a Quest headset. Interesting. That is really interesting. So I wonder why there's been a gap. Is it just for the fact that they are working on something and they'd planned on releasing potentially a Quest 4, but with the launch of the Vision Pro, they changed their model to try and compete more with that. Are they worried about the release of the Samsung headset or the Decade? They don't want to compete with theirs. I mean, this would have been the perfect time to release a headset and like blow the others out of the water type thing. Interesting. Let me know let me know your thoughts in the comments or in the live chat right now. Yeah, so obviously we had the Quest Pro October 2022. Then we had the Quest 3 2023. Then the Quest 3S 2024. That's 3 years in a row, and then nothing in year 4. Interesting. Because to be honest, like I say, I've never really considered the Quest Pro as part of the Quest line. Just for the fact that the way they marketed it originally, it felt as though, before the actual release, it felt as though it was more aimed at not the Quest users. Even though it had the Quest name, I still argue that was a mistake. I think they should have called it something else. It might have stood more of a chance, and it might have not been. You associate Quest with, how do I put this? Lower budget. So the Quest 3, okay, is a higher budget, but the Quest 3S was back to the Quest 2 standard of lower budget. And I think if they'd have released both of them at the same time, I don't think the Quest 3 would have done as well as the Quest 3S, in my opinion. Which is probably why they stagnated it over a year, if that makes sense. Get all the people who were obsessed with VR to buy the Quest 3, and then the people who were coming new to VR the year later, give them the Quest 3S. Interesting. Anyway, again, let me know in the comments what you think. And it's been an interesting one. Is that a dog wearing a hat? Cool VR. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate that everyone is joining the live streams. I'm trying to do them as much as possible. I'm trying to get back into the swing of doing the live streaming and the videos and the shorts, getting everything all like flowing to try and create something at least once a day. And I don't know if you've noticed something in the background, because I'm working on a certain project at the moment that you'll have seen the live streams about fixing the Quest 3S. And I came up with an idea of the colour I wanted to do the Quest 3S to make it so it was obvious that it had been fixed, because my worry was that everyone would see the absolute mess that it is, and then I'd be like, oh, I fixed it, blah, 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 and it looked like I'd just replaced the broken one with a brand new one. So I thought I need to do something different for it to stand out and be completely different to any Quest 3S that I have. Can anyone spot the Quest 2 change? Anyone? Should I tilt it a bit and see whether that... Don't know if it shows up on screen. Now this one was a bit mucky, so it's got a bit of a thing, but what do you think? I like it. I think it's going to look good when the Quest 3 is done. The Quest 3S is done. But I'm going for silver. And I think it'll look quite cool. I just think it'll just stand out compared to like every other Quest 3S that you see. Unless someone else has also done it silver, and then I'm going to look like a bit of an idiot. But that should be, I should be able to do the next video on that tomorrow. I just need to get the other arm off the Quest 3S, and then we can start spraying it and putting it back together. And hopefully, once it's put back together, it'll work. And then I've got another little surprise that if you subscribe to the channel, you'll find out about once it's finished. So yeah. But I thought it looked like a bit like something I'm never ever going to get, which is a silver play button. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you in the next one when I